we will start with the Ohio State Buckeyes, all right? The national champions, they do not have a lot of coaching continuity, even though the offensive side feels pretty good. They lose Chip Kelly, but in steps Brian Hartline as the offensive coordinator. He's been trained for this moment. He's been prepared for this moment over the course of time, too. I mean, Brian Hartline's now been watching it, and he's always recruited great. He's always done a great job with the receiving core. Now, it's just about calling plays on game day, and hey, guess what? He's got a great mind to bounce things off of. That's his head coach, Ryan Day. So I'm not concerned about Brian Hartline stepping in as the OC. They're going to be young on that side as far as the coaching staff is concerned, but Ryan Day's still there. Not worried about it. The reason why I'm not worried about it at all is because I thought they made a home run hire with Matt Patricia on the defensive side. This will allow Ryan Day to basically delegate 100% of the responsibility to his defensive staff and his defense coordinator, Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia's got head coaching experience. He's got high-level coordinating experience, so I'm not worried about Matt Patricia. I think the staff is going to be just fine. I also look at some of the pieces they had in the portal, and while it's not the home runs that they added last year, it's not the guys that are obvious slam dunk upgrades at positions because Caleb Downs wasn't available, Quinshon Judkins wasn't available, but they did go out and get some highly productive players like Max Clary from Purdue, who had 51 for 700 and a couple touchdowns. CJ Donaldson's a proven commodity from West Virginia. I also like the pieces they've added along the offensive line. So I'm pretty optimistic about what they've added so far this offseason. I know they're not, like I said, not a lot of sizzle, but there's an awful lot of steak with some of the additions they've made. The big question about Ohio State this year, though, is the quarterback competition. Isn't everyone fascinated by this? It's one of the most high-profile positions in the sport. Starting quarterback of Ohio State. They're going to be scrutinized. They're going to be evaluated. And they're probably going to be in the Heisman mix if they come through at the other side. Right? Even the guys that aren't there anymore, like Kyle McCord, went on and had amazing years at Syracuse. So we know that the quarterback position is going to be in good hands, regardless of who wins it, whether it's Julian Sand, who is the number one overall quarterback in the 24 class. He spent last year as the third-string quarterback. He's going to be competing against Lincoln Kienholz. I lean towards Sand there, just based on how the depth chart looked this past season, where Sand was the number 3 and got some mop-up duty in garbage time at times this year. Kienholz might make big progress, but the one time we've seen him with extended time was against Missouri a couple years ago, and he was 6 of 17 for 86 yards. So it's hard for me to feel great about him. You also have Tavian St. Clair, the number one prospect from this past year, but I probably lean towards the guy that's been around for a year, that knows how it operates, and served as the third-string quarterback. And you look at what they have on the defensive side. I think there's talent on this side, by the way, but I don't know if there's enough people paying attention to what was lost. You can look at the recruiting rankings and the star power that's back. I get that. But the presence, the veteran presence that was JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer, Tyleik Williams, guys that were playing in, as far as depth is concerned, you lose a lot of really quality pieces on the defensive side. I mean, Sawyer and Tuimoloau by themselves accounted for 115 pressures last year. So that's not going to be easily replicated. And can Kenyatta Jackson potentially do that? Sure. Will they be fine off the ball with Sonny Styles and with Caleb Downs? Yes, I'm not concerned about those positions whatsoever. But I am a little concerned about replicating the presence of what we saw up front defensively down the stretch en route to a national championship. I look at some of the key games, too. I think the schedule is very tough for Ohio State this year. You have Texas in the non-con. That's at home, at least. At Illinois, you're at Wisconsin, and you're at Michigan. Not listed there is a home matchup against Penn State. And while you've had Penn State's number, they have a few more known commodities coming into this year than Ohio State has. So I look at their schedule, and do I think 10-2, 9-3 in that vicinity? Sure, I think they'll be at least 9-3. I would anticipate 10-2 might even feel a little more likely, but Texas and Penn State might be the top 2 teams in the country. You've had your hands full with Michigan, and it might be an improving Michigan, and you have a couple tricky games like at Illinois and at Wisconsin. I still think, though, when the playoff forecast is taken into account for the Buckeyes, I think it is highly likely they're in the 12-team playoff in 2025.